We are in the middle of spooky season. And of course, it's the perfect time to share your favorite ghost stories. But here's the thing, they don't always need to be scary.
No, whether you believe in spirits and specters or not, sometimes strange things happen that are, well, difficult to explain. What's not difficult to explain is why our next guest is with us today. You know Andy Nunez, author and amateur historian. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Happy to
Love
be here.
talking.
Yeah.
Why are ghost stories so popular?
Now, my theory has been all along, people want to believe there's something beyond this life. We're only here on Earth for a short time,
right,
in the cosmic scale, so people just don't want to believe this is all there is. You know, and in our modern age, sometimes religion doesn't always do it for them, so they want to try to connect with a spiritual something on the other side.
Okay, all right. So what you're talking about today is a place that we are all familiar with, the Brick Hotel in Georgetown?
Yes, sadly closed, but yes, that's it. So let's talk a little bit about that. That is a historic location. It was built in 1836. During the Civil War, it was called the Union Hotel. It became a number of different things over the years, but our story takes place in the early 1920s. Now, this story was told to me by my good friend Ed Wimble. He's a military expert, and he said, "Did you know the story about my relative, George?" I'm like, "No." So apparently there was this fellow named George Schroeder. He was from Germany. He came to the United States in 1923, landed in Philadelphia. He somehow ended up in Georgetown, where he stayed with the Wimble family, which were Ed's relatives. And he married Ed's grandfather's sister. He became employed at the Brick Hotel. He started as a houseman. He worked his way up to bar manager, all the way up until it closed in the, I think it was 1950s.
Yeah.
And so he was the bar manager, and his wife Bertha, she worked over there, and he had a gun collection. This is the funny part, how he collected it was when people couldn't pay their bar tab, they'd give him their guns, you know. And
how about that?
Yeah, so he had this big gun collection. Now, World War II started, being he came to America without any papers. When people were rounding up the Nazi sympathizers and stuff like that, they investigated him, found out he had no legal official status, so he ended up being interned, and they took his gun collection.
Oh no.
So his wife had no income, so she had to do whatever she could to survive.
Right.
Well, he was in the internment camp. They finally let him out. He was registered for the draft and became naturalized. So over the years, he had, after the Brick Hotel closed for a short period of time, he moved up to Lewis, opened a restaurant up there. That didn't do so well, so he came back to Georgetown at another restaurant, and of course he died here, Georgetown, and he's buried in the Union Cemetery there along with his wife Bertha. But that's not the end of the story.
Okay.
The hotel was reopened as a bed and breakfast, and there was nobody there at night except for the guests. They had no staff there at night. So people started having these strange experiences. People touching the lights flickering on and off, items missing, moved around, pictures in the lobby moving around, all this sort of stuff. And so they brought in investigators. The investigators got some audio, and they believed that the two spirits that they said were haunting the place were George and Ophelia. Now, who Ophelia was, I'm not really sure. But George and may have been Ed's relative, George Schroeder. To top it off, when the staff would come in the morning and they would turn their computer on in the morning, the computer would say, "Good morning, this is George," every day.
Wow.
And we still don't know who Ophelia is.
No, never ever figured out who Ophelia is, unless it was garbled and it was really Bertha.
Maybe.
You know, so.
Interesting. The Brick Hotel.
The Brick Hotel, which is closed now.
Which is closed now, unfortunately.
I know. Great place, but George apparently
George
still
still
there.
sticking
Still there.
He's still hanging out around in there. So for Happy Halloween.
Happy
that's his
Halloween.
story.
There you go.
Andy,
Yeah.
another great story. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
sure thing. Oh, I'll be at Poplar Hill Mansion for another thing this this Friday night, 7 o'clock. Going to have big Halloween extravaganza over. That's another historical thing that needs to be supported. So
Poplar Hill.
Poplar Hill
Poplar
Mansion
Hill.
in Salisbury.
Friday at 7.
Okay.
Hey, thanks a
Thanks,
lot,
Andy.
guys.
Thank you.